The 1997 10 centime coin represents a fascinating element in the numismatic history of France during the late 20th century, falling under the category of the French franc currency system, which was in circulation before the euro was officially adopted in 2002. This coin, though of small face value, embodies a deep intersection of history, economics, design artistry, and everyday commerce in France during the 1990s. The term, centime, was used as the fractional unit of the French franc, with 100 centimes equaling 1 franc, and the 10 centime coin was a mid-range small denomination that circulated widely for everyday transactions such as buying small food items, tickets, or newspapers. The 1997 issue is particularly significant as it belongs to the period when France was experiencing the late stages of its pre-Euro monetary era, characterized by preparation for the monetary union of Europe and the eventual adoption of the euro in 1999 non-cash and 2002 cash introduction. The obverse front side of the 1997 10 centime coin typically featured the République Française inscription along with Marianne, the national emblem of liberty and reason, a personification of the French Republic. Marianne's portrait, depending on the design variant used at that time, often carried a Phrygian cap symbolizing freedom and the revolutionary spirit of France. The reverse back side bore the denomination, 10 centimes, with the year of minting, 1997, clearly inscribed, surrounded by the French national motto, Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, meaning liberty, equality, fraternity, a phrase rooted in the French Revolution of 1789 and upheld throughout modern French identity. The coin was minted primarily in aluminium-bronze alloy, composed typically of about 92% copper, 6% aluminium, and 2% nickel, giving it a light golden color, a low density, and resistance to corrosion. Its light weight made it convenient for daily use, and its smooth edge, sometimes reeded in other series, but for this period commonly smooth, was a notable characteristic of low-denomination French coins. In terms of dimensions, the 10 centime coins of this era generally measured 19.5 mm in diameter and weighed around 3 grams, making them smaller than the 20 centime and significantly lighter than the higher denominations. The production of the 1997 10 centime coin took place at the Monnaie de Paris, Paris Mint, one of the oldest mints in the world, which has been operational since the 9th century and has continuously provided coinage for France and its overseas territories. The mintage numbers for 1997 were relatively high because the denomination was still in active circulation and needed for day-to-day commerce. Millions were struck to ensure adequate supply across the French metropolitan regions and overseas departments. Economically, the year 1997 in France was marked by gradual stabilization and preparation for integration into the European Monetary Union. Inflation rates were moderate, consumer spending was recovering from earlier slowdowns, and small denominations like the 10 centime were still essential for cash transactions, particularly in rural markets, public transportation, and vending machines. The coin, despite its low face value, played a role in maintaining monetary fluidity for exact change and small payments. Politically, this was a time of cohabitation in France between President Jacques Chirac and Prime Minister Lionel Jospin, and economic policies were increasingly aligned with European convergence criteria, meaning that production of coins like the 10 centime continued but with an eye on the upcoming euro transition. From a cultural standpoint, coins such as the 10 centime were deeply embedded in the daily lives of French citizens. Children often used them for small school snacks, adults for metro tickets or bakery items, and tourists would accumulate them as part of their travel change. The 1997 issue is not considered a rare coin in numismatic terms because its mintage was high and its circulation extensive, meaning that many examples still survive today in circulated and uncirculated condition. However, certain pieces in uncirculated UNC or fleur de coin FDC condition, especially those preserved in original mint rolls or proof sets, can hold modest collector premiums, typically ranging from 20 cents to €1 in circulated condition, up to €2, €5 in uncirculated, and higher for proof strikes. The transition to the euro has made the 10 centime franc coin obsolete in commerce since 2002, but it remains legal tender in a symbolic and historical sense for collectors and historians. The design elements of the 1997 10 centime coin also reflect the artistic direction of the late 20th century French minting style, which emphasized clarity, simplicity, and national symbolism over overly ornate designs. The choice of Marianne was deliberate. She has appeared on French coins, stamps, and government documents for over a century, embodying the spirit of the Republic. The engraving work for the series in this period was primarily executed by Henri Le Griffol and later artists, who carried forward the legacy of French engraving excellence. The coin's golden hue due to the aluminium-bronze alloy allowed it to stand out visually among copper and nickel coins, ensuring quick identification by touch and sight, which was crucial in a society where coins of various similar sizes circulated together. The coin had a high level of resistance to wear, meaning that even today, many 1997 examples found in circulation show minimal corrosion but might display scratches, edge nicks, and loss of luster due to over 2 decades of handling. Its role diminished sharply after 2002, as the smallest euro coins 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50 cent replaced the franc denominations, but for many French people, the 10 centime coin remains a nostalgic reminder of pre-euro France, evoking memories of traditional markets, franc-based pricing, and the old rhythm of daily life. In the wider context of European coinage, the 1997 10 centime fits into a broader narrative of harmonization and transition. Neighboring countries such as Belgium and Luxembourg also produced centime under their franc-based currencies, and many of these coins shared similar dimensions and alloys to facilitate future monetary alignment. France, being a leading force in the European Union, ensured that its final decade of franc coinage maintained both functionality and symbolic weight. For numismatists, studying the 1997 issue offers insight into late Franc-era minting policies, mass production techniques at Monnaie de Paris, and the societal role of small change just before the digital payment revolution accelerated. Today, these coins are often found in mixed coin lots, old purses, or family collections. While their financial value is low, their historical value is gradually increasing as fewer people retain physical memories of the franc system. Collectors often seek to build full runs of 10 centime coins from the 1960s through 2001 to complete their Last of the Francs sets, and the 1997 piece is a standard, necessary inclusion in that sequence. Furthermore, the 1997 10 centime coin serves as an educational tool for understanding the evolution of currency and the economic decisions that lead to currency replacement. Its relatively simple yet elegant design illustrates how a coin can balance practicality with cultural identity, and its wide distribution across mainland France and overseas territories such as Réunion, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and French Guiana demonstrates the reach of the French monetary system before the euro. The aluminium-bronze alloy used was chosen for its cost-effectiveness and machinability, enabling high-speed minting using modern presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute without significant die wear. Many 1997 coins were also used in vending machines, telephone booths, and parking meters, which were calibrated for centime denominations, making them a familiar tactile object in public infrastructure. After demonetization, most of these coins were either withdrawn and melted for recycling or remained in private hands as souvenirs. From a historical perspective, the coin also sits at the crossroads of the analog and digital ages in France. By 1997, credit cards, bank cards, carte bleue, and early electronic payments were slowly growing, but cash still dominated everyday purchases, and coins like the 10 centime were indispensable. Inflation had reduced their purchasing power compared to the mid-20th century, whereas a 10 centime coin in the 1950s had more tangible buying power. By the late 1990s it was mostly used in combination with other coins to make up francs. Still, its role as a helper coin was important for precise transactions. The mintmark and engraver's initials on the coin provide another layer of collectible detail. Coins of this era bore the cornucopia mintmark of Monnaie de Paris, and may include the engraver's mark such as a stylized symbol beside the date, which specialists examine to determine exact production batches. In conclusion, the 1997 French 10 centime coin is a modest yet historically rich artifact that reflects the final chapter of the franc currency before the euro took over. It carries with it the emblematic values of the French Republic, the craftsmanship of centuries-old minting tradition, and the everyday stories of millions of people who used it for routine transactions. While not rare or high in market price, its value to collectors and historians lies in its representation of an era of transition, its widespread circulation, and its enduring place in the collective memory of a nation that shifted from a centuries-old franc to a unified European currency. The 1963 10 centime coin of France is a small yet historically resonant artifact that offers profound insight into the monetary, cultural, and political atmosphere of France during the early 1960s, a period marked by post-war reconstruction, economic modernization, and the formative years of the Fifth Republic under President Charles de Gaulle. Belonging to the French franc currency system, where 100 centimes equaled 1 franc, this denomination was a critical component of everyday commerce, widely circulated and used in transactions ranging from purchasing daily bread to paying for public transport. The 10 centime coin minted in 1963 was part of the Aluminium-Bronze series first introduced in the late 1950s and remained a mainstay in circulation until the introduction of the euro in 2002. This coin was minted at a time when France was experiencing rapid industrial growth, often referred to as the period of the Trente Glorieuses, 30 glorious years, 1945–1975, which saw impressive economic expansion, modernization of infrastructure, and rising living standards. The coin's face value of 10 centimes may seem minor, but it held meaningful purchasing power during its early years, capable of buying small consumables or serving as essential change in an era when cash was the primary mode of transaction. The obverse front of the 1963 10 centime coin featured the classic allegorical representation of Marianne, the personification of the French Republic, wearing the Phrygian cap, a long-standing symbol of liberty and resistance against oppression dating back to the French Revolution. Marianne, portrayed in a serene and dignified profile, embodies the values of freedom, equality, and fraternity, the national motto of France, Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, which is prominently inscribed on the reverse of the coin. Surrounding Marianne's portrait were the words, République Française, affirming the coin's national identity. The reverse back side displayed the denomination, 10 centimes, and the year of issue, 1963, in clear, legible typography, surrounded by laurel and oak branches, symbols of glory, peace, and strength, artfully designed to convey both the agricultural roots and enduring resilience of the French people. The coin's design during this period was primarily credited to Henri Le Griffel and later adapted by other engravers, and its production reflected the craftsmanship of the Monnaie de Paris Paris Mint, one of the world's oldest and most respected mints with centuries of tradition. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1963 10 centime coin was made of aluminium-bronze alloy, composed of approximately 92% copper, 6% aluminium, and 2% nickel, giving it a light golden hue, excellent durability, and resistance to corrosion, ideal for mass-circulated coinage. The coin had a diameter of about 20 millimeters, a weight of roughly 3 grams, and a smooth edge, making it easy to handle and distinguish from other denominations. The choice of alloy was both economic and practical, as it allowed for rapid minting using modernized presses while ensuring a relatively low production cost for a coin of small value. During the early 1960s, France was also adjusting to a major monetary reform. In 1960, the Nouveau franc, new franc, had been introduced, effectively revaluing the franc by a factor of 100. 100 old francs equals 1 new franc. This reform streamlined the currency system and restored international confidence in the French economy. Thus, the 1963 10 centime coin represents an early series of coins in the new franc era, playing a vital role in familiarizing the population with the revised currency system. Economically, the France of 1963 was on a trajectory of modernization and integration with Europe, being a founding member of the European Economic Community (EEC), the precursor to the European Union. Inflation was moderate, industrial output was expanding, and consumer culture was flourishing. A 10 centime coin, though small in face value, was a useful component of the cash economy, often combined with other coins for everyday transactions in shops, markets, bakeries, and public transport systems like the Paris Metro. In rural areas, where cash transactions were even more prevalent, the 10 centime coin facilitated micro-exchanges that supported local economies. Politically, Charles de Gaulle's leadership was marked by a strong assertion of French independence in foreign policy, decolonization movements notably in Algeria, which gained independence in 1962, and a focus on national renewal. The coin thus circulated in a France that was redefining its global role while solidifying its domestic prosperity. From a numismatic perspective, the 1963 10 centime is not considered exceedingly rare because its mintage was high. Millions were produced to meet the needs of a growing and cash-reliant economy. However, its value and collectability depend significantly on condition. Circulated coins are commonly found today in mixed coin lots, with modest collector value often ranging from 10 cents to 50 cents, while well-preserved uncirculated or mint-state examples MS can fetch €1 to €5, and rare proof or specially struck pieces may be valued slightly higher among specialized collectors. The coin bears the cornucopia mintmark, the traditional emblem of the Monnaie de Paris, and may include additional engraver or workshop marks near the date, which are of interest to dedicated numismatists seeking die varieties or minting anomalies. The cultural role of the 1963 10 centime coin was equally significant. It was a familiar item in the pockets of millions of French citizens. Children used it to buy sweets, commuters used it in payphones and vending machines, and shopkeepers relied on it to give precise change. Its lightweight and golden color made it a distinctive part of the everyday coinage set, often jingling alongside 5 centime, 20 centime, and 1 franc coins. The tactile and visual identity of the coin contributed to the monetary literacy of a generation that was transitioning from the old franc to the new franc system. For many who lived through the 1960s in France, the 10 centime coin evokes nostalgia for a time of post-war optimism, expansion of consumer goods, and the early stages of European cooperation. From a production standpoint, the Monnaie de Paris employed advanced minting techniques for the time, using high-speed presses capable of striking thousands of coins per hour with precise die engravings. Quality control ensured uniformity across the millions of coins issued annually. The 1963 series formed part of a long-running type that would continue, with minor modifications, until the late 1990s, when preparations for the euro began. Many of these coins, including the 1963 issue, remained in circulation for nearly 4 decades, demonstrating the durability of their alloy and design. When the euro was introduced in 2002, all franc-denominated coins, including the 10 centime, were officially demonetized and ceased to be legal tender. The exchange window for trading francs to euros closed in 2012, after which coins like the 1963 10 centime became purely collectible or sentimental items. Some were melted down, others kept in family drawers, and many entered the numismatic market, where they continue to be traded among enthusiasts of French monetary history. Symbolically, the 1963 10 centime coin reflects the enduring French values of liberty, equality, and fraternity through its inscriptions and iconography. The oak and laurel motifs on the reverse link the coin to France's agricultural and military traditions, while Marianne's profile asserts the republican ideal of a free, secular, and democratic state. The fact that such a small denomination carried such rich symbolism illustrates the French philosophy that even the most modest objects of daily life should embody national pride and artistic heritage. In conclusion, the 1963 French 10 centime coin stands as more than just a fragment of currency. It is a tangible representation of a nation in transition, politically stabilizing, economically growing, and culturally modernizing. Its widespread circulation, simple yet elegant design, and place in the narrative of the new franc make it an important collectible for those interested in the evolution of French money. While its financial worth may not be significant today, its historical and nostalgic value continues to rise as the era of the franc becomes more distant in collective memory. Collectors who assemble complete sets of 10 centime coins from the early New Franc period consider the 1963 issue a foundational piece, and historians regard it as a microcosm of France's economic and political environment in the early 1960s.